Tomorrow night, Baylor and Texas Tech. Former Baylor assistant Grant McCassin, another one in the Big 12 with Scott Drew and his staff, including John Jakus, who joins us. But we have to, thanks for your time. Was Saturday night one of the more bizarre basketball games you've ever been a part of?
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for all you do for Baylor as a whole. And I'm jealous you're chilling at the Super Bowl, so I'm sure that's a good time. But yeah, I've traveled around the world between Athletes in Action and coaching overseas. I've been in gyms where they shot off fireworks and had SWAT teams. And, I guess in my situation, as far as a college basketball game in my decade in this sport, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. And it's not just the reffing, the fans are going to focus on that. I think it's the swings and the score and the technicals, and then the Foster. Because let's give some credit to the new building. I don't know that I've been in a Baylor game where the fans were so fired up and affected the game so deeply. In a lot of ways, they helped save the day. So not just the tension with the refs, but the energy around the new building. I thought it was horrible and remarkable all at the same time.
So just taking us through the moment, because, hearing what Scott said after that, he gets ejected, and it's not like they give you 5 minutes to go over everything. Like, hey,
the guy coming in for the bullpen.
Yeah, you can't do that. It's just like, okay, John, you're in charge now. Go ahead. What was that like? Just trying to, especially in the Big 12 in a basketball game that in 30 seconds of 3 or 4 possessions can swing rapidly if you don't have your head on straight. What was that like for you mentally?
Yeah, I think that we're in some ways a little more set up for that than other staffs because, for better or worse, I help with the offense and AB helps with the defense, and then Coach New supports him and Coach P does, and our whole staff is kind of split up, and Tweety does both, and everybody's got their role. So you're kind of stepping into something where everybody's got their role. And so, Alvin's got the defense and I got the offense, and for better or worse, I got to stand up and call the sets because I'm the one who knows the sets. But it's a real team moment in that time. I don't think that immediate moment was what bothered me. I think technical 30 seconds later is what bothered me. And then once we could settle down, take a deep breath, and we went down 7, I feel like it wasn't until that timeout when we were down 7 that we were able to sit with the guys and grab a hold of them. And then coaching college sports, it's a lot about X's and O's, but it's more than anything, it's about 18 to 23-year-olds. And so we were able to look them in the eye and get a hold of them at that moment. And then I thought they settled, our shot creation got better, our shot selection got better. And then we made the adjustment to go man, which was a great call. And I thought that left them flustered. So we were able to get a hold of the emotion again. And then once we got a hold of the emotion again, it just comes down to coaching basketball. And our guys, to their credit, have been in 6 or 7 one-possession games at this point in the league. So for better or worse, they're probably more practiced in those situations than anybody else in the Big 12 right now. So they're the ones that really took the thing home. Their execution was remarkable. But Scott sets the staff up where everybody knows their role. So that part's easy. I think getting a hold of the game again was the hard part.
Last thing on the moment as far as Saturday night, and Paul might have a follow-up too, but are you supposed to be told why you're teed up? Is that part of protocol, or does the official have to say anything to you at all?
Well, I think we should probably parse that out a little bit. Scott Drew has been in this league over 2 decades. I think in the last 4 or 5 years, we're the winningest high-major program in the country. I think that his service to the Big 12 as a whole has been incredibly positive. I don't think that Scott swore at anybody, and there's probably a dynamic that I think just being Scott Drew with a national championship and 2 Big 12 championships in the last 3 years, he probably gets an explanation. Now, I don't know that I get an explanation after that technical, but Scott should probably get one. I think the thing that's hanging in the balance a little bit is on the second one, he's escorted out, so he definitely didn't get a full explanation there. But that's for Mac and him to deal with. I think that his professionalism over the last 2 decades probably deserves an answer, and I think they'll get one. But that's above my pay grade, so I'll leave that to the 2 of them. But Scott's just done so much for this league, and the rest are doing the best they can, but there just comes a certain point where he kind of deserves an explanation. And it's like golf. There's probably an etiquette to who putts first, but at the end of the day, certain things just probably need to happen on a golf course. I think at the end of the day, Scott probably just deserves an explanation in those moments. But we'll move on. We're going to be gracious. Really, all that matters in our league is the next game. But Scott and Mac, I'll let them deal with that.
John, the challenge of coaching when you're in foul trouble anyway, and you've got quick whistles, no matter, if they're right, if they're wrong, how it's going, the challenge for you as coaches is to have to coach them to play through it and not get tight. Obviously that would happen during stretches, but clearly it didn't bother you, especially down the stretch where you kind of just knew it. Is part of it just accepting, like, look, we've got to play our game, and whatever happens, we can't stop them from blowing whistles no matter what?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had to do the offense-defense substitutions with Jaden Nunn and Ray J because Ray J got 4. I think we're constantly balancing how much we use each big because of the illegal screen issues, which is something we've got to clean up because this is one of the best turnover percentage teams we've had in league in my time here. But one of the areas we're struggling with is the illegal screens, but that also leads to foul trouble. And so you're balancing lineups and combinations and foul troubles. That's just part of it. But in some way, there's a freedom because I know 100% they're not giving me a call. And I know 100% at that point, nothing's probably going to fall our way. So we just need to execute and make simple decisions and have the guys be on the same page. And I thought that they moved on in a real elite way. And you can complain a lot about one thing or you can increase your ball movement. And I don't know if you noticed down the stretch, but the extra passes and the ability to force them into rotation, that's a top 5 defense in the country. They're number 4 in the country coming into that game. Them and Houston are the 2 best defensive teams in our league. So to be in foul trouble and have all that stuff going on around them and for them to take a breath and increase the ball movement and stop complaining. And even the threes we missed were wide open ones. And we're probably a couple free throws from really pushing that game to, 6, 7, 8 points. So those are things we'll clean up, but the guys did a great job and we moved on. And once we moved on, you saw how elite they were at offense.
Well, and congratulations. Now you get Texas Tech, and they're ranked 15 right now, and that might change. And then you got to be careful to look too far down the road because there's that game Saturday in another state. I won't even bring it up. But you don't get time to enjoy very much, do you, when the conference schedule begins? And what the challenges that a Grant McCasland team, who you know so well, bring tomorrow night?
Yeah, you really don't. When you get to February, and this is something I saw on social media or I forget, maybe I read an article somewhere, but the question is, will this Big 12 season wear you down before the NCAA tournament? Will there be a couple teams that are shocked by what they're going through? And the immediate turnaround, when I worked at Gonzaga, it was hard to understand. I would watch the Big 12 from there and compare the leagues. And it's not the basketball piece. Obviously, the best coaches in the country, a lot of them are in the Big 12. It's the emotion. You go through a triple overtime loss, and then you're immediately on to the next thing. You go through a game where Coach Drew gets kicked out, and it's immediate on to the next thing. It's hard to stop and celebrate. And if you don't celebrate the wins until midnight, you're just going to get bogged down with a lot of complaining and negativity and who got the most shots and who didn't. You've got to find this way to celebrate college basketball. And that's where Scott's experience being in this league for 2 decades really helps. And so, I mean, we're on to the next team. It's obviously coached by someone who's our friend and a dear friend of mine. Grant has helped my family in immense ways. His wife is one of my wife's best friends. But for 2 hours tomorrow night, it's just going to be about the players on the floor. And we've got to get our guys ready. And when it comes to Grant, it's a little odd. I mean, right now they're the number 1 offense in our league, if not number 2, and they're last in defense. It's not historically a Grant McCasland team. But what I know about them is that they totally understand that the toughest team wins. And so when you play a Grant McCasland team historically, if you're not tough, you got no chance. So our guys just need to get ready for a fight. And then in the middle of that fight, you got to be able to take a breath and make a jump shot.
How emotional will this be? I mean, you didn't play against him when he was at North Texas. So, of course, Coach Tang, it was, I mean, there was no buffer period to like adjust to the fact that you were going to be right across from him. Here, it is straight up and down. You are, there with him. So what's it like emotionally for you guys, because you are as a coaching staff such a family. Nobody's left here in a huff. It is kind of a beautiful thing what you guys do.
Yeah, I think we should acknowledge the strength of Scott's coaching tree, and it's so good that people in his tree have become successful enough to end up back in the Big 12, which is the #1 league in the country. And if you look across the coaching trees, there's other guys who have really good coaching trees, but I don't think there's any coaching tree that's accomplished that. So I think they ought to be thankful for that. And they deserve a lot of credit for how good coaches they are, but I think the opportunity that Scott gave them, it just causes for this behind-the-scenes love and appreciation that each staff has for each other. At the same time, I would say I got a unique experience in this. We played Gonzaga in the national championship, and those are some of my best friends. I worked there 3 years. There's just a habit of having to turn your brain off and coach the game and coach your players. And then whether we're playing Grant's tendencies or Phil Self's tendencies, it doesn't matter. Each coach has tendencies. Now, the fact that I know Mark's tendencies so well at Gonzaga, or they know Scott's tendencies so well, maybe there's an innate advantage in that. I actually think that there is an innate advantage having worked someplace. They've been in our practices. We've never been in theirs. But it doesn't really matter. You just turn it off for 2 hours, and then you see the outcome, and then you move on to the next thing. And the thing about the Big 12, like, you lose a game, you just have to win the next one. And I think during our 3-game losing streak, people probably thought a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't true. Because if we can somehow get this home win tomorrow, we'll be 6-3 and tied in first place after the first 9 games in the league. So you just have to keep your head above water. And maybe one of the worst things you can do is make this, long trek through the league emotional. So we're not going to get bogged down with emotions with playing Grant. We obviously love them, but this is just about a basketball game. Let's see if we can execute and then immediately move on to the next one.
John, we appreciate it. Great win. Obviously, any win in this conference, and you got to protect your home court. Congratulations on taking over under dire situation, but your kids responded. You responded, as you said. It's a part of what Coach Drew and everybody has built at Baylor. Enjoy the week. I know it's going to be another battering ram. That's the way I always use it, and we appreciate your time and enjoy the win.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'll just say this Foster deal is a part of our battering ram now. So we just appreciate all the support you give us, and the way the fans have come and supported the new building and us this season has been an absolute joy. So we look forward to tomorrow night. Hopefully it's sold out and it's all green and gold and no red and black.
There you go.
So enjoy the Super Bowl, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. John Jakus, Baylor assistant basketball coach, with us after the win Saturday night. Crazy. Home against Iowa State, Texas Tech on Tuesday, Kansas on Saturday. And this is 365 Sports at Super Bowl 58 coverage in Las Vegas.